I want you to just close your eyes for a second. Imagine a choice is right in front of you. A classic scenario.
Okay.
Option A. You walk away right now with $3 million cash. I mean, it's a huge life-changing amount.
Right. Immediate.
Or option B, you take a single penny. And that one penny is guaranteed to double in value every single day for just 31 days. So which one do you choose?
Well, if you haven't heard this one before, the gut reaction is obvious.
It has to be the cash, right? $3 million right now. Why would you wait? It's that immediate visceral thing we're all wired for.
But that's the trap. That's the huge, almost invisible trap in that way of thinking.
And it's the very thing that guarantees most people never, ever achieve that sort of extraordinary success.
Because that penny, that choice that seems so insignificant, it's worth just 5 cents on day 3.
Right.
Even halfway through the month, day 15, it's only about $160.
Yeah.
You'd be looking at the $3 million and just kicking yourself.
Oh, absolutely. But when we follow that compounding curve all the way to the end day 31, that single penny choice, it results in over $10.7 million.
Wow.
That massive radical gap between the safe, immediate $3 million and the final explosion of over $10 million, that is the power we are diving into today.
It really is the core truth of achievement.
Welcome, everyone, to Awesome Chapter.
We are so excited to be digging into, I think, one of the most pivotal and just actionable success manuals ever written. It's a book that just strips away all the hype.
Yeah, its focus is completely on execution.
That resource is Darren Hardy's celebrated work, The Compound Effect. Jumpstart your income, your life, your success.
And Darren Hardy, he was the former publisher of Success magazine, and he wrote this book to reveal the sort of fundamental principles that drive superachievers.
Right, proving that these extraordinary results, they come from the most unsexy, mundane act of just being consistent.
This deep dive is really designed to distill all of those foundational secrets into knowledge you can apply immediately.
Yeah, we're going to cover strategies to eradicate bad habits you might not even know you have. We'll unlock the real keys to lasting motivation, what Hardy calls why power.
And we'll detail the precise steps you need to catch that awesome force of momentum that makes success feel almost inevitable.
Exactly. We're focused on pulling out the key lessons from the stories and principles in the material so you can walk away knowing you already have the power to transform any part of your life.
As long as you commit to consistency. Okay, so let's unpack this core idea. Let's start with a simple definition.
The compound effect. It's the principle of reaping these huge, massive rewards from a series of small, smart choices.
But, and this is the key, they have to be executed consistently over a long period of time.
And that simplicity is the biggest psychological challenge, isn't it?
Totally.
Because the steps you have to take, in the moment, they feel like nothing. You cut 125 calories today, or you read 10 pages of the book, and you get zero immediate payoff. Nothing.
Exactly. The lack of instant gratification is the killer. I mean, if I go to the gym once, I don't suddenly have a six-pack. If I skip dessert tonight, I don't magically lose 5 pounds. It feels mundane. Sometimes it even feels a little ridiculous.
And that's where almost everyone quits. Right before that exponential curve even starts to tick up.
Yeah.
The effort feels like a grind, and the results are still basically a rounding error of 0.
Hardy breaks it down into this really clear, almost mathematical formula. It shows you exactly why you have to persist, even when you can't see the results yet.
Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals a radical difference.
And the emphasis is all on that consistency over time.
So let's go back to the magic penny for a second, just to really appreciate the psychology here, the patience it requires.
Yeah, we're comparing that straight linear gain of $3 million cash versus the exponential growth of that doubling penny.
And if you break down the timeline, it just shows you what a mental battle it is.
Okay, so on day 10, the person who chose the penny has what, $5.12?
Pathetic, right? And then day 20, they finally scrape together just over $5,000.
And that 20th day, that's 2/3 of the way through the month. That is the critical quitting moment.
Absolutely. That's when your friends, your family, and even your own brain starts whispering, what are you doing? This is a waste of time.
You've been so disciplined for 20 days, reading every night, getting up earlier, tracking your spending, and you have, virtually nothing to show for it. You're still so far behind the guy with the $3 million.
And the power of the compounding, it stays deceptively slow until the very, very end. By day 25, the penny is worth about $167,000.
Still way short.
Way short. And even on day 29, the amount is only $2.7 million.
Yeah.
You are still losing the race.
But then boom, on day 30, that exponential curve finally just explodes,
Mm-hmm.
and the compounding penny pulls ahead. It hits $5.3 million.
And it's not until that very last day, day 31, that the true massive power is just undeniable.
It delivers $10,737,418.24.
It looks like a miracle. It looks like that overnight success that you see on magazine covers.
But it was just the result of one decision executed consistently for 31 days.
And the really profound lesson here is that this force, this compounding, it's just as powerful in every single area of your life.
Health, relationships, your career, learning a new skill.
If you're looking for magic in your life, this is it. It just requires patience and a commitment to doing the boring stuff.
To make this even more real, Hardy gives this fantastic narrative case study. It's about the difference between making those small positive choices and the small negative ones.
Right. The story of the three friends, Larry, Scott, and Brad.
They all start out in pretty much the same place. Similar houses, similarly $50,000 a year incomes, and, average health. Maybe carrying a few extra pounds.
Larry, he's the control group. He just kind of plods along, doing what he's always done.
He's the status quo. He shows up, does his job, watches TV, and he's comfortable. And a few years later, he's the one complaining that nothing ever changes for him.
Exactly. He chose inertia.
Then you've got Scott. He's friend number 2. He starts making these small, deliberate, positive changes.
And they're almost invisible.
Totally. He commits to reading just 10 pages of a good book every day.
Mm-hmm.
He listens to 30 minutes of instructional or inspirational audio during his commute. He turns his car into Drive Time U.
Love that. And for his health, he cuts just 125 calories from his diet every single day.
Which is nothing, right? Switching from mayo to mustard or drinking water instead of a soda.
Exactly. And he walks a couple thousand extra steps a day.
And then there's Brad, friend number 3. He makes these small, seemingly meaningless pool choices.
He buys a new big screen TV, which encourages more couch time.
Starts trying out those cheesy, high-fat recipes he sees on cooking shows.
And he adds just one extra drink a week to his diet. I mean, nothing that seems like a disaster, just a little loosening of the standards.
Okay, now let's go back to that critical timeline. Because this is where the mental battle is won or lost.
After 5 months, if you put these 3 guys side by side, there is absolutely zero perceivable difference.
None. Their bodies look the same, their income is the same, their relationships are the same.
You could calculate the difference, but it would be a rounding error. Scott's read 5 books, listened to 75 hours of educational stuff, and he saved about 18,000 calories.
And Brad has consumed 18,000 extra calories and watched 75 more hours of, mindless TV. But on the outside, they look identical.
And those differences, they stay subtle for a long, long time. It's not until the end of the 18th month, a year and a half later, that you start to see the slightest measurable changes.
Yeah, maybe Scott's belt is a little looser. Brad might feel a bit more sluggish going up the stairs.
But the truly radical difference, the result of that compounding, hits around month 31.
And the results are just startling. They are completely separated from Larry, the control group.
So Scott, because of that cumulative effect of cutting 125 calories a day, has lost 33.5 pounds. He's thriving.
Meanwhile, Brad, who added that same number of calories daily, has gained 33.5 pounds.
That's a 67-pound difference between them.
Yeah.
And it all came from these tiny daily choices that were invisible for the first year and a half.
And here's the really profound part, the key lesson. It's what Hardy calls the ripple effect.
Right. He breaks down how Brad's 125 extra calories led to physical sluggishness.
Which then compounded into mental sluggishness. So he'd wake up groggy, cranky.
Which reduced his patience and his focus at work.
So that negatively affected his performance, which led to bad feedback from his boss, which led to job dissatisfaction.
And stress eating to cope, compounding the calorie problem even more.
And because he felt sluggish and unhappy, he stopped going on walks with his wife. He became emotionally distant.
It's incredible. One poor, unconscious choice, adding 125 calories in one drink a week, rippled through his entire life. It led to job stress, debt, and a seriously strained marriage.
And Scott experienced the exact opposite positive ripple.
The knowledge from the books led to new ideas at work, which got him a promotion and a raise.
He had more energy for his family. His marriage was thriving because his self-esteem was higher, so he was more present and affectionate.
The lesson is just undeniable.
Yeah.
Success isn't about some massive life-changing effort.
No, it's about doing the right things well 5,000 times over. And understanding that those tiny actions trigger this huge interconnected ripple that either builds you up or tears you down.
And that realization that doing simple things is also simple not to do brings us to the whole idea of conscious choice.
Right. Which leads us directly there, the concept of choices. Everything in your life right now, your income, your health, your relationship, it all exists because of a choice you made.
Or maybe a choice you failed to make.
Exactly. Choices start a behavior, which, when you repeat it, becomes a habit.
But the really profound challenge, as Hardy points out, is that something like 99% of our choices are unconscious.
We're on autopilot. He calls it sleepwalking through our decisions.
We're just reacting based on old programming or comfort and what we want right now instead of what's aligned with our actual goals.
I love his analogy here. He says, elephants don't bite, mosquitoes do.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for that one big catastrophic choice that ruined everything, the elephant. But for most people, it's the frequent, small, seemingly meaningless choices, the mosquitoes, that bite us over and over and derail our success.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Nobody consciously chooses to go bankrupt or become obese.
No.
Those huge, life-altering results are the sum of a series of small, poor, unconscious choices made over time. The $4 coffee, the extra hour of TV, avoiding a hard conversation. The mosquitoes just add up.
So to fight back against the sleepwalking, we have to embrace what he calls the 1,000 rule, 100% personal responsibility.
Right. He talks about going to this seminar where the speaker challenged the whole idea of 50-50 responsibility
Yeah.
in relationships and in life.
Yeah.
And the core principle is just transformative. You have to be willing to give 100% effort and commitment with zero expectation of getting anything back.
100% responsibility for everything that happens in your world.
That sounds incredibly hard. I mean, if my flight is late because of bad weather, how am I 100% responsible for that?
Well, Hardy's argument is that it's not about controlling the external event. It's about controlling your reaction to it.
No.
So if you blame the traffic for being late, you give away your power. But if you accept 100% responsibility, you ask yourself, what choice did I make or fail to make?
Did I leave enough buffer time? Did I choose to get angry and ruin my morning? Or did I choose to use that extra time productively?
Exactly. By taking 100% responsibility for your actions, your non-actions, and how you respond to what's done to you, you get unlimited power to control your destiny.
So if a coworker messes up a presentation, you don't blame them. You take responsibility for failing to, what was the phrase, inspect what you were expecting.
That's the one. It's so liberating because it frees you from being a victim and puts you back in the driver's seat.
As his mentor, Jim Rohn, said, the day you graduate from childhood to adulthood is the day you take full responsibility for your life.
And that framework, owning 100% of your results, it leads right into reframing the whole idea of luck.
Right. So many people just fall back on the excuse of bad luck.
It's comfortable, isn't it?
It is. But Hardy, he quotes Richard Branson, who says, luck is all around us every day. The difference is just being able to see it and take advantage of it.
So luck isn't magic. It's a consequence of preparation.
And he breaks down the whole formula for getting lucky into 4 parts.
Okay.
It's preparation, so personal growth, plus attitude, your mindset, plus opportunity, a good thing coming your way, plus action, doing something about it. That equals luck.
So preparation is just consistently investing in your skills and your knowledge. If you're not prepared, an opportunity just looks like a threat or maybe just noise.
Right. And attitude is the belief system that allows you to see situations as fortunate. This is the tricky part because you can't see what you don't look for, and you can't look for what you don't believe in.
This connects right to our neurobiology, to the reticular activating system, or RAS.
The brain's filter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The RAS filters out billions of pieces of information every second, and it only lets through what it thinks is essential for survival or what you specifically told it to focus on.
So when you define your goals and you adjust your attitude to be open to them, you're essentially reprogramming your RAS to see opportunities that were invisible before.
The opportunity was always there, your mind just wasn't looking for it.
And then the final critical piece is action. You have to actually do something about the lucky break.
Seize the opportunity. That's what separates people who succeed from those who just let it pass by, waiting for some perfect risk-free moment that never comes.
And to move from that passive sleepwalking to active responsibility, Hardy gives us the most practical strategy in the whole book: tracking.
He calls it your secret weapon, your personal scorecard.
And this came from his own really painful financial wake-up call.
Yeah, early in his career, even though he was making great money, he lost over $300,000 in a bad venture. Why? Because he was lazy. He wasn't inspecting what he was expecting.
He just assumed his partners were handling the money. It was a total lack of awareness.
So his accountant gives him this radical solution. Carry a small notepad and track every single cent you spend for 30 days.
Wow.
And that immediate painful awareness of all his unconscious spending, the coffees, the snacks, the subscriptions, it instantly made him conscious of his financial choices.
So the strategy is simple. You just pick one area, debt, weight, fitness, how you use your time, and you track every single action related to it for at least 3 weeks.
3 weeks. That's the benchmark, right? The time it takes to start forming a new habit, to break inertia.
So why does tracking work so well? It just forces you to be conscious of your decisions. You can't manage or improve something until you measure it.
Right. If you track every minute you spend on your phone, you instantly become aware of just how much time is being wasted.
All winners are trackers. Professional athletes, businesses, you have to track your life's metrics.
And the real cost of those small expenses, when you look at them through the lens of compounding, is just staggering. This part is a huge time for shifting your financial mindset.
Right, so Hardy calculates the true future cost of a simple daily choice. A $4 coffee seems like nothing, but if you compound that at a modest 8% over 20 years, it's worth over $51,000.
Wait, let's just let that sink. If $51,000, that's the potential wealth you gave up for a daily caffeine hit.
And because that $4 can't be invested, it's not just costing you $4 today.
No.
It's costing you nearly $5 in lost future value for every dollar you spend today over those 2 decades.
So the $4 coffee is really a $20 decision every single day.
That one realization completely changes how you think about those small daily purchases. It shifts your focus from the convenience now to the cost later.
Which creates the pain point you need to change your behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that awareness is what makes tracking so powerful. It works for everything.
Including relationships. He tells the story of the Thanksgiving journal.
Yeah, he was advised to write down at least one thing he appreciated about his wife every single day for a year.
So it forced him to become a sort of positive detective, actively looking for all the things she was doing right.
The way she styled her hair, a compliment she gave him, a great meal she cooked.
And the really unexpected lesson from this was that the person who benefited most wasn't his wife, it was him.
Right. By consciously focusing on the positive things, his own view of her and his behavior toward her totally shifted.
He fell deeper in love, he became more appreciative, and then she, reacting to his genuine appreciation, showed up differently in the marriage.
The whole relationship positively compounded. And it all started with a simple, conscious choice to write one note a day.
That's the power of shifting your focus.
And to really grow, you also have to know where your blind spots are. Hardy says you have to actively seek out people who care enough to be brutally honest and ask them for feedback. Self-awareness is a constant practice.
Okay, so as we move from making conscious choices to making them automatic, we get to the topic of habits.
And Hardy uses this analogy of the wise teacher and the mighty oak tree to really define the challenge. Habits are like trees. When they're new, when they're just saplings, they're easy to pull out with your fingers. But the older they get, the deeper their roots grow and the harder they are to uproot.
And that explains why we struggle so much with those deeply ingrained behaviors like smoking or procrastination or overspending.
The psychological studies back it up. 95% of everything we feel, think, do, and achieve is the result of a learned habit.
So the secret to success isn't being smarter or luckier. It's just having consistent good habits.
Now, when we try to break a bad habit, what's the first thing we rely on? Raw willpower. But Hardy argues that willpower alone is just not enough, especially when you're fighting the constant pull of instant gratification.
Willpower is finite. It's like a gas tank that gets emptier as the day goes on.
Right. And when stress hits, or when the work gets uncomfortable, that tank runs dry, and you just automatically slide back to the old comfortable habits because they don't require any conscious energy.
So we need something way stronger than finite willpower. This is the core concept of why power.
Your choices, your behaviors, they're only meaningful and sustainable when they're connected to your deepest desires, your dreams, your why.
If you don't know your why, you will abandon any new path the second it gets uncomfortable.
To really illustrate the just supernatural strength of why power, Hardy uses that powerful analogy of the plank between two 100-story buildings.
Yeah, this one is great. If I offered you $1,000 to walk across that plank, you'd say no. The risk is way too high.
Of course.
But if your child or the person you love most in the world was on the other building and that building was on fire?
You'd walk that plank in a heartbeat without even thinking.
Exactly. The risk didn't change at all. But your motivation, your why, changed completely. It made the impossible achievable.
That deep, emotional, non-negotiable reason. That's your why power.
So how do we find that? How do we tap into it? It starts with defining your core values.
Hardy shares his own values: growth, excellence, and impact. And they act like an internal compass for him, a filter.
So if a new opportunity aligns with those values, he knows to go for it. If it doesn't, he dismisses it quickly, saves his energy.
Identifying your own core values is essential. What do you stand for, even when it's hard? It takes some deep self-reflection.
He also says motivation can come from fighting an enemy. Not a person, necessarily, but fighting against injustice or complacency or even a feeling of inadequacy.
Right, you see this in stories of superachievers like the coach Pete Carroll or the actor Anthony Hopkins.
Hopkins used the anger from being labeled a problem child because of his dyslexia to fuel his commitment to acting. He channeled that fight to prove everyone wrong.
He used that external resistance to feed his internal fire.
Which brings us to goal setting. Hardy calls this a crucial secret weapon.
Your brain is a goal-seeking creature. The law of attraction, it works because when you define your goals, you give your mind a specific set of instructions on what to look for.
Just like with the reticular activating system. You define a goal to start a business, and suddenly you start noticing articles, conversations, and resources about it that were totally invisible to you last week.
Right. And Jim Rohn gives the perfect philosophical frame for this. He says, success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become.
So the key question isn't, what do I need to do to hit this goal?
No, it's, who do I need to become to make this goal inevitable?
Okay, so once you know who you need to become, you have to deal with the behaviors that are blocking your path.
And Hardy gives us 5 game changers for subtracting bad habits, uprooting those mighty oaks.
Number 1, identify your triggers. Pinpoint the big 4s, the who, what, where, and when that are behind the bad behavior.
Right. Is it stress that makes you want to smoke? Is it walking through the front door that makes you grab a snack? Is it a certain person that encourages you to gossip?
You have to know the trigger before you can replace the behavior.
Number 2, clean house. This is literal. You have to remove everything that enables the bad habit. You remove the need for willpower.
So if you want to stop spending online, delete the apps, unsubscribe from the emails. If you want to eat healthier, get all the junk food out of the pantry.
If it's not in your environment, you can't use it.
Number 3, swap it. Replace the bad habit with a healthier but similar alternative that gives you the same sensation.
If you crave salty, crunchy chips, swap them for crunchy carrots or air-popped popcorn. If you crave a sugary dessert, swap it for 2 small pieces of dark chocolate.
The key is that the replacement is only slightly less satisfying, but way better for you. You're not depriving yourself of the sensation. You're just swapping the source.
Number 4, ease in. For those really deep-rooted habits, a slow reduction might be necessary to avoid a total crash.
Right. He gives the example of cutting back on caffeine. You go from 100% regular coffee to a 7-5-25 blend, then 50-50, then full decaf, and then maybe transition to tea.
It manages the physical shock and lets your body adjust.
And number 5, jump in. Because sometimes cold turkey is the best way. You just embrace the temporary, excruciating discomfort to shock your system.
He compares it to water skiing in a ridiculously cold lake. The thought of the cold is worse than the reality. Once you jump in, your system adapts pretty quickly.
And jumping in is often necessary when a habit is just too toxic to manage bit by bit, like a severe addiction.
Exactly. And just as important as subtracting is adding. You have to fill that vacuum with powerful, positive new habits.
And for that, he gives us such techniques.
Number 1, set yourself up to succeed. Make the good habit easy and convenient, and make the bad habit difficult.
If you want to read more, put the book on your pillow. You can't go to bed without seeing it. If you want to eat healthier, prep all your meals on Sunday so healthy food is the easiest option during the week.
Right. My own challenge is email addiction. It can just kill hours of focused work.
Oh, I know that one.
So Hardy's method would be to turn off all notifications and only check email at 3 scheduled times during the day. You build a wall around that time suck.
Number 2, think addition, not subtraction. This is the add-in principle. Focus on what you're adding, positive actions, healthy foods, rather than what you feel you're giving up.
You fill your mental space with the good stuff, so there's no room or energy left for the bad.
3. Go for a PDA, a public display of accountability. Tell your family, your friends, social media, whatever, about your new commitment.
That external scrutiny is so powerful.
The example in the book is great. A coworker who quit smoking tracked her success with huge red X's on a public wall calendar in the office kitchen. She didn't want to fail in front of everyone who was cheering her on.
Number 4, find a success buddy, a peak performance partner. Team up with someone who is just as committed to growth as you are.
This is a ritual I use. Every Friday, 11 a.m. sharp, a 30-minute call with my partner. We trade wins, losses, fixes, and aha moments. Just knowing I have to be accountable to him for the commitments I made on Monday keeps me disciplined all week.
Number 5, competition and camaraderie. A little fun rivalry can be a huge short-term boost.
Right, that 90-day running challenge they did showed that while the competition was on, people were super consistent.
But as soon as it ended, consistency dropped by over 60%. So it proves that communal challenge is a powerful but temporary motivator. Use it to get started.
And number 6, celebrate. You have to reward yourself for being consistent, especially at the beginning when the results aren't visible yet.
It can be small, taking a walk, a good coffee, or bigger, like a massage after you hit a 90-day goal. You have to acknowledge the work you've put in.
The final lesson here is so important for perspective. Change is hard, and that's a good thing
Why is that?
because most people won't do it. The difficulty is a natural filter. Pushing through that discomfort is what separates the extraordinary, because you know your competitors are probably quitting right when it gets tough.
Okay, so once you've installed those positive habits and you've pushed through that initial discomfort, you get the ultimate prize.
Big Mo. Momentum. This is where success finally starts to feel easier, more natural.
Momentum is just Newton's first law, the law of inertia applied to success. An object in motion tends to stay in motion.
It takes a massive amount of energy to break inertia, but once you're moving, maintenance is relatively easy.
Right, think about the merry-go-round analogy. It's so much painful, effort-pushing groaning to get it started from a dead stop.
But once it's spinning, you just need these small, consistent pushes to keep the speed up. Big Mo takes over.
Or the rocket ship. It uses most of its fuel in the first few minutes of flight, just to escape Earth's gravity.
Your old habits and negative conditioning, that's the gravity. Once you break free, you just glide.
And this is why superachievers, Michael Phelps, Apple, Google, they just get more successful. They catch Mo.
Right. They operate at a level where their consistency is the foundation for this explosive exponential growth.
Michael Phelps didn't win 28 Olympic medals by accident. He always points to his consistent, disciplined routine that he honed over 12 years.
His coach said Phelps didn't rely on feeling motivated. He relied on being predictable. His routine guaranteed that his performance was reliable and unstoppable when it mattered.
And in business, look at Apple. They were actually late to the MP3 game with the iPod.
That's right.
They weren't first. But their decades of consistent habits, innovation, quality, customer experience meant that when they finally hit a nerve with the iPod, Big Mo just catapulted them. 4 years later, they had 70% of the market.
The breakthrough was preceded by years and years of preparation.
So to catch Mo, and more importantly, to maintain it, you need routines and rhythms.
Routines are the foundation of reliable performance because they automate complexity. They free up your mental energy.
Military training, an athlete's pre-shot ritual. It's all about consistency, ensuring predictable performance under pressure.
And the crucial strategy for this is to bookend your days. You can't control all the chaos in the middle of the day, so you have to be ruthless about controlling the start and the finish.
Hardy lays out this really structured morning routine to launch your day effectively. It starts with an 8-minute mental discipline ritual before you touch any screens or news.
Okay, 8 minutes. What's in it?
It's in 3 parts. First, 2 minutes of gratitude, actively listing 3 things you're thankful for. Second, 2 minutes of sending love or a blessing to 3 people. This shifts your emotional state to be positive and outward focused.
And third, 4 minutes of deciding on the 3 most important actions you'll take that day to move your #1 life goal forward. You're starting the day with purpose.
Then that 8 minutes is followed by stretching, coffee, listening to 30 minutes of instructional content, and then 90 minutes of focused, deep work on your most important project.
The anchor of the whole morning is the 7 a.m. calibration appointment. 15 minutes to review your goals, track your progress, and set your top 3 MVP's most valuable priorities for the day.
You have to know what 3 things will make the day a success. Only after that should you even look at email.
And the evening routine is the cash out. This is how you make sure you don't carry the stress of the day into your sleep.
You review your plan versus what you actually did that day. You log any new ideas or insights you had.
And critically, you read at least 10 pages of an inspirational book before you go to sleep.
Right. So the last information your mind processes is constructive and positive, not the anxiety of tomorrow's to-do list or the negativity from the nightly news.
And when these daily routines become automatic, they form rhythms. The succession of routines across your week, your month, your year.
And consistency in that rhythm is the welcome mat for Big Mo.
I love the steam locomotive analogy for this. At rest, a 1-inch block of wood can stop it completely. But once those wheels get into a consistent rhythm and that train hits 55 miles per hour, it can crash through a 5-foot steel-reinforced concrete wall.
That is the force of compounding rhythm.
And we have to be so intentional about maintaining that rhythm because the cost of being inconsistent is huge. It's way more than just the results you lost that day.
Inconsistency kills Big Mo.
It's perfectly illustrated by the hand-pumped water well analogy. You pump and you get nothing for a long time, so a lot of people quit.
But the wise person keeps going until a few drops appear, then they keep going until a full, steady stream is flowing, which is then easy to maintain with consistent, easy pumping.
But here's the danger. If you start pumping for too long, all that water falls back down.
Yeah.
You don't just lose the progress from the days you missed. You lose all the pressure. You lose the momentum. You have to start the whole massive, exhausting effort all over again from square one.
That's the high price of stopping and restarting. It takes so much more energy than just steady maintenance.
Winning is all about pace. Just be the tortoise. Keep that steady consistency, even if it's slow, because the energy you waste stopping and starting will always put you behind the person who just keeps going.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the external forces that are constantly shaping our choices and our momentum.
Right. Your behaviors are always being shaped by 3 pervasive influences: your input, your associations, and your environment.
Let's start with input. Garbage in, garbage out. Our brains are wired for survival, which means they are constantly looking for lack and attack.
We have a natural bias toward fear, worry, and negativity because, historically, that's what kept us alive.
And the negative news and sensationalist media, they feed that instinct. If you start your day absorbing reports of crises and fear, your brain just chews on that stress all day.
So you have to stand guard. You have to be disciplined about what information you let into your mind.
Get this statistic from the book. Americans aged 12 and up spend an average of 1,704 hours watching TV per year.
What?
That's 4.7 hours a day. It's the equivalent of 2 solid months out of every 12 spent consuming mostly low-value information.
And people wonder why they feel stuck or depressed.
That high volume of input just makes your head fat with useless, fear-based information designed to prey on your psychology, make you feel inadequate so you buy more stuff.
So Hardy recommends a rigorous mental diet. He minimizes his news intake, saying that 99% of it has no bearing on his personal life or goals.
And to flesh out the negative, you have to fill up on the positive. Which brings us to the strategy of drive time you.
Right, eliminating drive time radio, all that mindless chatter and fear-mongering, and listening to instructional audiobooks or podcasts instead.
The average American drives 300 hours a year. Using that time to learn is like getting 2 semesters of an advanced college degree every single year.
You're creating a consistent compounding rhythm of learning from time that you were previously just wasting.
Okay, now let's move to associations, the reference group. This is one of the most powerful and subtle influences in your life.
Jim Rohn's famous quote, "We become the combined average of the 5 people we hang around the most."
Their health, their attitude, their income, all of it.
And social research confirms it. Your reference group determines as much as 95% of your success or failure.
The influence is so subtle, it's like being nudged down the shore by an invisible current. You start eating what they eat, talking like they talk, thinking like they think, often without even realizing it.
If your friends are always ordering greasy appetizers and complaining about their jobs, you will unconsciously absorb those behaviors and attitudes.
But if you surround yourself with people talking about their goals, their investments, the inspiring books they're reading, you'll absorb that instead.
So we have to reevaluate our associations. He puts them in 3 categories. First, dissociations.
These are people you might need to completely cut off, even close family, if they refuse to grow and they're actively dragging you down.
That sounds incredibly difficult. Does he offer any advice on how to manage that emotional conflict rather than just a clean break?
He does. He acknowledges it's ruthless. But the key is to understand that their resistance is usually rooted in their own fear and guilt. Fear that your success will just highlight their lack of effort.
And if they refuse to join you on the journey, you have to prioritize your why power over that temporary comfort.
Okay. Second category, limited associations. Some people are 3-hour friends, not 3-day friends.
Right, you have to know your capacity for their influence. If an old friend is mostly negative, you limit the time you spend with them so they don't drag you down or derail your new habits.
And third, expanded associations. This is where you proactively seek out and spend time with people who embody the success you want.
Join organizations, clubs, whatever, where they gather. Let their positive energy rub off on you.
And this doesn't have to be in person. Hardy used this to spend over 1,000 hours with his mentor, Jim Rohn, mostly through audio programs and books.
You have an unlimited supply of world-class mentors available through podcasts and books. That's Drive Time You at work.
And finally, within those expanded associations, you need to find a peak performance partner.
Someone you trust, who is committed to growth and who is bold enough to be brutally honest with you.
That partner gives you that essential, unbiased outside perspective and holds you accountable, making sure you don't lose the momentum you worked so hard to build.
This whole system, from one tiny choice all the way to unstoppable momentum, it all hinges on relentless self-awareness and accountability.
It proves that the secret to success isn't some complex formula, it's just a commitment to the basics.
The core truth is that your path to success is through this continuum of mundane, unsexy, and sometimes difficult daily disciplines, all compounded over time.
You are only days away from that exponential curve starting, if you can just resist that urge to quit on day 20.
So now that you know the power of consistency and the immense future cost of those small, poor choices, here's a provocative thought to leave you with.
If the 3 friends continued on their paths for 5 years instead of just 31 months, where would you be on that curve? Are you Larry, Brad, or Scott?
Now that you know the power of consistency, join us next time as we accelerate our learning journey and discuss the final principles that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary.
We want to thank you for joining Awesome Chapter today. Please remember to support the show by hitting like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. It ensures we can keep curating this essential knowledge for you.
We encourage you to immediately identify one small, smart choice. Just one that you can apply to your morning routine today to start compounding your success right now.